Hey guys, welcome back to another raw and rapid anime review. This will be my second video in the series, and I'm pretty excited to get into this one. For the people who are new, these reviews are basically just me ranting on what I liked or disliked about the certain anime we're talking about. It won't be like an in-depth review or anything like that. It's just all just my personal opinion. So try not to get too salty over them, because they all are pretty bad and don't really make sense. If you missed it, last week we dove into Code Geass, and if you're interested in watching that video, I will put a pop-up at the end of this video so you can watch that. Anyways, if you guys are enjoying this series, make sure to like the video. It helps a lot with the algorithm, and yeah, I'd really appreciate that. Comment down below the anime you want me to review next. Without any more yapping, let's get into the next raw and rapid anime review. Attack on Titan. This colossal anime, pun intended, is definitely one of the most talked about series of all time. It has had huge impact on the anime industry, and is definitely one of the greats. This was actually my very first anime. It did a very good job of hooking me into the media, and I fell in love with anime ever since then. This is easily one of the most entertaining anime I've seen. Countless scenes had me on the edge of my seat, and it never failed to get me hyped for an insanely well animated ODM gear fight. When I first watched it, I found myself heavily invested in the mystery behind the Titans, the characters, the story, everything. I loved everything about this show when I first watched it. When everything was real later on, like all the mysteries and stuff, it was pretty surprising. I thought some of the characters were pretty cool. The ones I thought were the coolest were Levi, Mikasa, Erwin, and Zeke. Hold on tight for this next one. If I'm gonna be for real, after a while of this show, I find myself now to not care at all for any of the other characters. I can admit they're well written. Objectively, they're very good characters on paper. But for me, I just don't care about them. I have no sentimental value with any of the characters. Like if they all just ended up dying at the end of the show, I wouldn't care. I don't know why I don't have any care for them. I just don't. I think some of them are cool, but like when it comes down to like how much I actually care for their character and their like involvement in the story, it's like absolutely zero. Part of the reason, I know this isn't probably the main one, but one of the reasons is the show constantly puts them in near death situations ever since season 1, the first episode, to the most recent stuff. They're always getting in near death situations where everyone's about to die. So it gets to a point where it's not really that like nerve wracking anymore. Like, yeah, I'm still nervous, but like I don't really care. Alright, for now, I'm going to talk about the story. Now, I know that objectively on paper, this is a very well written story. Debatably one of the best, if not the best, written story in all of anime. Some people think that at least. But simply, I just don't care for it. Like, I don't care for the story anymore. I used to be super invested in the story. I used to, care deeply for everything. But I think just over time, I just lost interest and lost care, and got to the point where the only reason I'm actually interested in watching the show is for the action and the fight scenes. Like that's the only part of the show that I actually find myself liking anymore. I think part of this stems from there were some parts in the story that were boring, especially one in season 3, like that one castle arc when they were just sitting in that. I found that to be heavily boring, or season 2, I mean, sorry. And then season 4, I don't really like at all. If I'm gonna be for real, I don't really like Marley. I don't like how they focus a lot on Marley in the beginning, which obviously after a few episodes it goes back from that. But in the beginning, when it was just focusing on Marley, it was pretty boring. Yeah, even after it got back to everything and things are picking up, I just still found it to be boring. I thought a lot of it was just dialogue in season 4, the first half of season 4 at least. There were some scenes with like Levi fighting all those Titans, Aaron versus the Beast Titan, that I thought were pretty cool. Those scenes were interesting. But other than that, I don't really like season 4 that much. I think the newer stuff in season 4 is good, but still, I just don't care for the story anymore. And I think because I was watching it weekly, it also ruined it for me. Because watching anime weekly, I just hate doing, and that easily is one of the factors that made me lose interest more. I also don't really like how it strayed from the original concept. Like, of the story. Now I know objectively like it's better for the sake of the story for it to move on from that, but I really love the initial concept of the like humanity versus Titans. Like Titans were this overpowering thing and humanity had to find a way to kind of fight back with everything they could. And I just really liked that concept. I thought it was like obviously scary when the Titans were attacking and eating everyone. I loved how it was like, yeah, humanity against Titans. And as the story goes on, it's kind of revealed, like, spoiler warning, like people are Titans and things like that. And like it just turns into more people versus people, and they just use Titans as a weapon of war instead of like humanity versus Titans. And I just really love that initial concept. So I think when it strayed away from that, I think it's better for the sake of the story, but I just found myself not caring for the story as much when it did that. All right, I think that's enough yapping about my dumbass opinions. Now let's get to some of the good stuff. First off, like I already stated, the action was top notch. All the fight scenes were super well animated, especially some of those wit ones. Probably the strongest aspect of the show, honestly. You know, all the like it had me hype, everything. I thought the fight scenes were amazing, and I kind of talked about this earlier a little bit, but the soundtrack, the music is fucking phenomenal in this show. All the OSTs are bangers. Some of them fucking give me chills every time I hear them. They're amazing. They just make the fight scenes even better. It's amazing. The openings, the endings, every single part of this soundtrack is amazing. Debatably one of the best, if not the best soundtrack in all of anime. I think it's very beautiful. Next, character designs. I think the character designs are fine. It's not that it's bad, it's just there's nothing interesting about it. You know, it's not no JoJo's where it's giving you something new and interesting. It's like every other basic anime art style, which is not it's not a flaw. It's not nothing bad about it. It's just also nothing special about it. So but yeah, overall, I think Attack on Titan is easily one of the most best written animes of all time. I think it is very good, objectively speaking. It has amazing writing and depth, a strong cast of characters, very good animation, a great soundtrack to go along with it as well. There really isn't anything objectively wrong with this series. I think it is one of the series that I consider to be perfect. Like, if you look for flaw in Attack on Titan, it's very hard to find one. And all the things that I stated were really just personal flaws. Like, no, objectively, the show's not boring in season 4. I know objectively the story doesn't get worse, but me, I've just found myself losing interest in finding some parts boring. But that all has to do with me, not the actual show itself. For my personal rating for the show, I will give it an 8.4 out of 10, mostly for my lack of interest in the story and the characters. And the recent season, I don't really like that much. Yeah, that's about it. If you enjoyed today's raw and rapid review, make sure to like, sub, comment down below the next anime you want me to do. I plan to make one of these once a week. It might be kind of hard with school and work and streaming and everything else. But yeah, like I said, these reviews are literally just a mashup of my overall thoughts and opinions on the show. It's not supposed to be a super well written review, in depth, anything. It's literally just me ranting on what I liked or disliked about the show. Very sloppy script, everything. Yeah, make sure to hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next episode, because I will, like I said, make one of these once a week, hopefully. Yeah. Anyways, that's about it for this one, and see ya.